And so let's write this down, because I'm going to use the board. So early morning, Professor Upadhyay talked about assessment and evaluation, right, which necessarily means taking exams, right. There could be other ways of assessing, for example, project reports and things like those. So let me, since you are all beginning, let me first understand what exactly do you do when you try to assess or evaluate an examination, or when you are evaluating your students, what exactly is in your mind, and then we'll analyze it further. I want it to come from you. Do I take some problems that I gave in the assignment and give it in the exam, or what else? Asking questions. So let's keep writing it, okay? So asking questions. This is asking questions in the exam or during the class, or what? Asking questions during the class. And then how do you evaluate using this? Do you mark the students who are participating? Point out their mistakes. So this is not assessment, this is point out their mistakes, okay? No, I want the ideas to come out. What else?
Surprise quiz in the class.
Surprise quiz in the class. Now this is, I understand that you have a big chunk coming from the university, but you also have internal assessment. So we are talking about necessarily the internal assessment, right? So surprise quizzes. What else? Interaction. So that's comments in this. So let's write this interaction. Assignments, okay, and you're grading the assignments, huh? And then internal assessment, you may also then add some exam or something, right? So internal exams. I'll write necessarily, because all these colleges are governed by the universities, so only that what you do. Now this is all fine, but why are you doing this? That's the question. Then only you can set up a good evaluation paper or something. Why do we do this? What is your aim? Okay, very good. So aim. Let's write the aims. Okay. So all this is aim. Or thinking. Okay. What else?
Understanding of the key concepts.
What else?
Improvement of the teacher.
Let's say teacher is very good, so let's put it improvement of teaching methods.
Application of the concept.
Build up knowledge in corporate.
Huh?
Build up knowledge in corporate.
Build up.
Knowledge in corporate.
Build up. No, knowledge. In okay, knowledge in the field. Other ideas?
Proper evaluation on daily. Proper evaluation on daily.
No, so that is the evaluation part. I'm talking about the aims.
Applications of all the subjects.
All the concepts. So that's understanding of the key concepts and applications we can add there.
Building up the students' examination.
Huh?
Make them ready to examine.
The university examination. Okay. Prepare for future, huh? Examination by university, huh? Or maybe a commission, huh? So which will cover the competition. And somebody was saying something from here. Okay. So this is building a student's ability. I would say feedback to the students. Is that a proper way of saying it? Anything else?
Keep students motivated to learn.
Okay. So can we keep that in feedback or should it be separate? So I can write it separately. Since she said it separately, she doesn't seem to be happy about writing it together. Dance, and then I'll couple these two together.
Develop leadership capability.
How does evaluation develop leadership capability?
Personality development.
Through examination. Okay. So let's say let's bring it here. Between the students, is that?
Those who have understood better and those who have
So, so we would say that to grade the students' abilities, huh? To grade students' abilities. Anything else you can think of?
industrial interactions.
Through evaluation,
Develop employability.
huh?
To develop employability.
To develop employability. So that will be concepts, knowledge, and all that, right? So that's
Project like individual as well as the group.
no. I'm talking about the aims of this. You're giving what is the aim? So I'm focusing on the aim. Are we exhausted or anything more? Huh? What about it? I'm asking you. Why are you asking me? You are evaluating me.
It can also be add like course structure, what you are delivering to students.
So would that cover in knowledge, or do you have something else in mind? No. If you have something else, then if we are missing it, then I would like to write it. But if it comes under one of these, then I'll not write. You have something else in mind?
Knowing the student in what they
No. Let him finish first. He is thinking.
So I think course structure is also important for students.
No. I would like to write it, but tell me precisely what you mean. That's what I'm not able to understand. So if I just write course structure, so I'll say aim of evaluation is course structure. That does not make sense, right?
Maybe assessing the knowledge of
But that's what I said earlier. That's maybe the knowledge in the field. But maybe he has something else in mind. His thing. So you frame it, and then we'll do it. Huh? Somebody else was saying
Knowing the depth of learning.
depth of learning. So would that come under concepts and knowledge, or something more?
So our instruction is in what way we interact with them and what is the real feedback that comes from the student side.
Right. So feedback to students, or you have something else in mind? Is it covered? Okay.
Social strength.
Social
Strength.
So, aim of evaluation is social strain.
Basically, that only we are doing. Actually, whatever the education part is like a small unit of social.
No. So, right now we are focusing very strictly on evaluation and assessment. How does that come in this context? Aim of evaluation. I am either giving a project work, I am giving quizzes. So, we wrote internal examination, maybe I can also write plus projects. How does this fit into that aim? That is what you have to tell me. We have to be very contextual.
Proper content delivery.
Huh?
Proper content delivery.
So, aim of evaluation is to ensure proper content delivery? Is that what you are saying?
So whatever the content in the course, that should be delivered the proper way. So if that doesn't deliver the proper way, that will be the problem. The evaluation.
Then there will be no. So, I am not asking about the problem in I am asking about the aim of evaluation.
Ensure correct content. Correct content to
Whether the course contents have been achieved by the students or not.
Whether the
Course outcomes
Ah.
have been achieved by the students or not.
So, course outcomes, okay. Course, one sec. Outcomes achieved by student. So, what I will write, I think 2 or 3 which you could not write is feedback to instructor. Right, earlier we said this was the feedback to the students. Now we are saying feedback to the instructor, whether structure has been followed, content has been delivered and things like that. Pretty much covers it. Probably that is what you had in mind. Anything else?
So building of confidence in student to solve problems.
That is through, okay, so evaluation. Okay. So, no, let us write this. So, I am running out of space. Building confidence to solve problems in an unknown situation, right? I mean, without any help.
Yeah, in different fields.
Without help. Okay. What else?
To make a student attentive and regular.
Huh?
To make a student attentive and regular.
Attentive and so that will be feedback to students. Knowledge, attentive and regular. Aim is attentive and regular means he is gaining knowledge, his concepts are clear.
It also has
No, one second, let me finish with him first. Yeah, is that what you mean? Attentive in the class? So, okay, let's write this number 0. Make students attentive and regular. Okay? He was saying something.
So it also helps to maintain discipline in the class.
So, attentive, regular, discipline. Okay. Anything else? More you say it, because more I am going to ask you how you are going to achieve it. So, you are digging your own grave. Huh.
to judge the self-learning of the students.
What is that?
Self-learning of the students.
Self-learning. That will come in knowledge and all that. I mean, you are teaching and self-learning. So, okay, let us write self-learning also. So, let me write this is 0, so this is 0 plus. Anything else?
The practical applications.
That will come in building confidence to solve problem in an unknown situation, right. So, I can add here, plus practical application. Anything else? I think, so before now you come up with a category, see if that fits in one of these. I think we pretty much exhausted it. Yeah? Okay. Now, if this is so now the question is this. So, if you look at all these aims, right, and morning Professor Upadhyay was actually talking about the aims of a course, right. He was talking about learning outcomes, he was talking about you have to be very clear what you want to deliver through a course, right. Tomorrow you will also hear about core courses, what we expect when a student goes through a core course, what we expect in terms of outcome, because core courses are the first courses that students are exposed to, right. But what you can see is that the evaluation that you do, right, evaluation, they are ultimately, that is why I wrote all this, and it all came from you, I did not say anything, right. So, we all know that all this has to happen, right. This is all ultimately related to the course outcome, right. If I am teaching a course, what do I expect the student to do? I want the student to understand key concepts, right. I want the student to build up knowledge in that field. I also want to ready a student, right, make him ready so that given a problem which is unknown, or even if it is known, can the student solve it without any help in an exam environment or an environment where there is no book is needed, nothing is. So, in a way that is an outcome. And can I ask the student to apply it in a practical situation, right. So, all this then, and so this is part of the outcome of this the course, right. On the other hand, as the course is going along, you also want to keep the students motivated to learn, right. You want the you want to give excuse me feedback to the students whether they are learning properly or not, right. And you also, a very important point somebody said is that important improvement in teaching learning, it also gives a feedback to you, right. That course outcome to students, feedback to the instructor, whether proper learning teaching is taking place or not. So, you want to say that I have delivered a content, have I reached out to the students, have students really absorbed it. So, all this is a very tall order, right. We want to achieve all this, and therefore, can I just pick questions from a book at the end of the book or past 5 years and just give them if I want to achieve all this? You cannot, I mean, right. And now, different people said different thing, but I think everybody would agree that although somebody may have said improvement in teaching learning, but that person also had something else in mind which he or she could not say, right. So, we pretty much agree that this is all there, and therefore, when I do assessment and evaluation, I have to have all these goals in my mind. What am I doing? What am I trying to achieve through this, right? If I have those goals in mind, I cannot just go, and you obviously do not have any control over what the university exam is going to be like. So, that would be keep students, prepare them for future examination, university commission, although people may laugh at it, but it is a very important part. A lot of students do want to prepare for, somebody wants to appear for UPSC, somebody wants to appear for engineering services. So, you do want to prepare students for that also, but that cannot be the only driving force, right. And if you want to achieve all this, consequently, you have to frame your questions accordingly, right. Frame your questions accordingly. Now, I will add to it, I will also add to it, I am running out of the board place, but I will add to it that we have many tools to achieve it, right. You said asking questions during the class, we have surprise quizzes, we have assignments which can be graded, right. We have internal examinations. Now, in all this, I can also have MCQ type questions, multiple choice, right, short answer, and I have long answer. People call these subjective, but they are not really subjective. In science, engineering, there is nothing subjective. It is long answers, you ask for a derivation. Now, I have these tools at my hand, I have these tools at my hand, and I have to keep playing with these tools in different ways. So, for example, if you want to know, let us now discuss them one by one. Understanding of key concepts by students and applications, what kind of questions would you frame? MCQ. But MCQ में तो कभी लगता है? Fill in the blanks again. It is, do you want now, the question is, let me ask in the language of cricket. Do you want your students to be ready for 2020 test cricket, one day or all three? You want them to Virat Kohli or Steve Smith? Virat Kohli भाई तीनों फॉर्म में खेलता है. Steve Smith खाली टेस्ट बैट्समैन है. Now, so you cannot just say this. If you want understanding of key concepts, in that you are also looking for whether the concepts, if they are clear, the person should be able to apply it and develop it further. If that is the case, you have to have a question which is at least there is some derivation involved, some application involved. Either you can make 2 or 3 parts, one part leads to the other, but it cannot just be one thing. I mean, is that a valid point, or you had something else in mind? Huh? I mean, but you take back your MCQ thing now? Short answer? No. I mean, this is a discussion, so nobody is right or wrong. I am just giving my experience, which may not be useful. Now, so let us say understanding key concepts, and I will also add to it whether a student is able to apply and something which is learned to solve a problem or do it a practical application. Again, I would add a long problem, because when I go to engineering field, I do not necessarily tick, engine is not working, tuck, carburetor is stuck, this is not working, boom, petrol is bad. You actually look through one step to the other, right. So, I would say that this part, let us say long answer, this part long answer. Is it making sense? Because again, if you are looking for, because I have to think, you see, it's like this. When I am teaching a student, I don't really think what I am teaching. What I have to think about is 10 years down the road, the student is stuck somewhere as an engineer, right? Would he be able to recall certain things? Would he or she be able to solve that problem which is, he's stuck in the field? So, for that, it has to be a long process. He has to go through everything he has learned. So, I would say long question is good for that. Now, so anywhere else that you would see that it has to be long and nothing else? So, this is definitely long answer, yeah, definitely long answer, right. So, let us put it definitely. Anywhere else you see that I can do only, if this is only long answer, nothing else? So, we will come back to it again, nothing, I mean, nobody is running away. Now, if I am looking for, let us say, improvement of teaching learning, I want a feedback constantly. How are students learning, right? Have I, whatever I have taught, have the students learn on a continuous basis? What do I do? Ask questions in the class, right? What else? But I also want to evaluate. MCQs or quizzes, right. So, the way we will form is a different thing, but certainly quick would be quizzes, and let us put it there, very short quizzes, right. Now, if you are making MCQ, again you have to be very clear. Your aim in this framing questions for improvement in teaching learning is to know whether the student has learnt, whether you are doing a proper job or not, right. So, would that also come to feedback to instructor, right. So, this is on a continuous basis. So, let us put it here also. Can you put quizzes here also? Now, assume, imagine yourself making weekly quizzes, let us say weekly or 10 days maybe. Now, that you can decide whether you want to do it after 3 lectures, after 5 lectures, after every module has been covered or whatever. Again, you have to be very clear. Your aim is to see whether key concepts have gone in or not. You will frame your quiz accordingly. You cannot just pick up a question and give it. It is up to you, what you emphasize, what you wanted it to be. So, you see, you have to frame the question accordingly, right, and you have to keep in mind that it is, you are basically looking for a feedback, right, on what the student is learning, how you are teaching. So, it cannot be also a very hard quiz where students do not score, because that is not your aim. Your aim in these quizzes is not to see whether students have learned or not. You also want a feedback whether you have done a proper job or not. So, you cannot be hard in grading. right. So, it has to be very clear in your mind. You have to make those quizzes which are simple enough to solve, students do not feel discouraged, they feel like taking it, but they give you a good feedback as to whether they have learnt it or not, right. So, you differentiate. On the other hand, I can also give, so I can give during a course, say let us say it is a 14-15 week semester, and after every 2 weeks I am giving a quiz. So, maybe 7 quizzes, out of which 3 could be where I want a feedback, 3 could be where I want to grade the students. Those would be a different kind. You see how now according to aim you change your questions, and these could be quizzes. Now, again depending on what you want, these could be MCQ, these could be short. Quizzes certainly cannot be a very long answer type, because you want a 5-7 minute thing. In fact, one very interesting thing which I mean unfortunately our place cannot be done is something called the clickers, and I once tried it, right. I mean, thought of trying it, I came up to a level, but after that could not do it. Suppose I give my students reading assignment, right. Maybe with mobile we can now do it, and just before the class I ask, if you have read, what does figure 1.2 describe? Just quick answer in your mobile, right, or they can just send the answer within 2 minutes to your some server or something, some site, right. This will immediately tell you whether students have read it or not. It could be a very short quiz, just describing what that figure is, right, or what is the y axis on that figure. So, depending on the aim you can always do it, right, and now the tools are available. So, this quizzes necessarily, let us put it this way. So, quizzes would be depending on these aims either MCQ or even one line answer or tick, right. So, that could be. Now, let us say prepare for future examination, depending on what kind of examinations you are talking about. Now, most of them are MCQ. So, that part you can make, right, and there certainly you can take some old examination, because most of the examinations repeat questions. So, you can just pick those and throw some of them in the exam, right. Feedback to students. How do I give feedback to students? Now, do I give feedback on weekly basis, on module basis, or what? So, this also, what do you think is a good way of doing it? The end sem, final exam में feedback करेगा क्या फिर student उसको लेके, grade खराब हो गया, mid sem or quizzes, both, right. So, this is now, this was a little difficult for me to comment on. Keep students motivated to learn. So, whoever suggested, I would like him or her to explain this. How do I keep students motivated to learn through examinations and quizzes? Huh?
If other students get the good grade, definitely the slow learner will motivate.
See, this is an approach, and that's why I am asking this. This is what I call kind of making somebody learn through a negative feedback. It is like, बैल को चाबुक मारो चलो, तुम पीछे क्यों? So, I don't know whether through evaluation I can really motivate students to learn. It could also work the other way. I make a difficult quiz and the students say that I am not going to score anyway, so why worry? This is only maybe 2% of the final grade which I am going to get an examination from the university. So, but somebody suggested if they have something else in mind. In my opinion, this is an approach which is a negative feedback, and it may backfire, but nonetheless I am open. Maybe this is my experience, your experience could be different.
Maybe assessment could be a part of it and not evaluation. Maybe through assessment we could motivate the students and not directly through evaluation.
So not the evaluation. You take a quiz, maybe talk to the students after that you were doing all right, but maybe this is the mistake you did. So that means
We can calculate the progress.
constant interaction, you mean. Okay, that's a very good point. So I am not evaluating, but I am giving a test or quiz, and after that I am interacting with the students. Maybe tutors are interacting or I am interacting, that although you did it all right, but here you went wrong. Yeah, that's very nice, because the thing is, Although assignments also do the same thing, but assignments students do tend to copy from each other. Maybe they'll, but this part one can do, give a surprise quiz and then assess. Okay, very nice. So okay. Now, so now when I make these examinations, I'm trying to do different goals, and finally I also have to give a grade to grade students' attributes. So that's where, so each examination paper, right? Now let's format. Let me now make an examination paper. So quizzes ho gaya, these are short MCQ, right? Midsem ho gaya. Now let's with all this in mind, let's form a model examination paper, midsem or whatever quizzes. Now where is the duster? So let's say make a 2-hour examination, right? Let's check that. So 2-hour examination. You will also be setting papers for university, so you can keep this in mind there also. We not necessarily. So suppose there is nothing else and I am setting a university paper, right? I would say part 1. Some MCQ, right? Maybe some 10 questions, 15 questions, where I would expect students to answer what is on their fingertips. So that is like what they have learnt in the course, and what is it something that they are going away from the course with, which is on their fingertips. For example, curl of gradient is 0, something like that, right? Or Stokes theorem, right? Or Carnot cycle or whatever. So MCQ, then I can add to it MCQ plus short answer, right? So if I add that, and now this is I am saying because I make my question papers like that. So this basically takes care of not key concepts, but let's say knowledge on fingertips after having gone through the course. You finally, if somebody has done the course, you want some certain knowledge on fingertips, that I have learned this. Now depending on how much of that component in your course was, you can make it, whatever that same percentage in the question paper. So this takes care of some certain points, right? Part 2, right? Maybe one concept, long, or let's say one concept will be medium size question, right? So it will be one concept, you can check the concept or knowledge or whatever, right? Then you have linked multiple part question, where you lead from one concept to the other to the third, and the question kind of builds up. And one which will differentiate racing horses from the kind of tattoos, right, could be one problem with new application, new situation, and then you can increase the ratio and things like that. Let us see if it covers whatever aims we had. Then obviously when you are framing the question, you have to be clear in framing the question as to what do you want to do with it. Do you want to check this, like that. Is that okay? Now I'll take comments. Negative marking I would only put because I want certain knowledge on fingertips, so I wouldn't want people to guess. So I would put negative marking if I want to in MCQ or short answer, not otherwise, because other places I want the person to try. again I will think of the engineer being trapped in a situation where the person has to apply his or her knowledge. So, I want them to try, not be scared whether things will go wrong, right. So, negative marking first part is okay where you want the knowledge on fingertips, others I would not put it. Other comments? Yeah, so MCQ about half an hour, right. One concept medium sized question about 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, second one half an hour, third one half an hour, fourth one rest of the time. So, that is a tough one. You want, you can increase the number of questions, right. Then again depending on what the course outcome you wanted, accordingly you can also tune it, right. Any other comments? So, we have made our paper and that is at the end of the session. All right. I will see you tomorrow with all demonstrations and core courses teaching. Okay? All right.
Thank you.
Sure.